the tatastha nature of the soul. And he gave the analogy of a fire with sparks. He said, just as everyone has observed, there's a big fire, then there's sparks, and sometimes the sparks fall down. And depending on where they fall, they will react in a particular way. He said, in a similar way, we're exactly the same as Kṛṣṇa, only we're tiny, like the sparks from the fire. And when we fall down into the three modes of material nature, which are very powerful, influential qualities of the material world, we're influenced. And he quoted the verse, Karanam guna sangosya, that the cause of our nature in the material world, which he called swabhava, and he says that is formed because of our association with one of the three modes of nature. And he said that swabhava is very difficult to overcome, in fact impossible by any material means. And he gave an example of a dog. He said a dog likes to lick shoes. And he said if you make a dog a king and you put the king dog or the dog king on a throne, if you throw a shoe in front of it, then he'll jump off the throne and lick the shoe, because that's his swabhava, or his nature. And according to our association with the modes of nature, it's very difficult to overcome our natural conditioning, or our conditioning, unnatural conditioning by the modes of nature. He said when we're influenced by the lowest mode of nature, ignorance, then we're prone to sleep and inactivity and intoxication. And when we're influenced by passion, we're very active, but not in a way that is productive. And he gave the example of a monkey. He said when the monkey comes, he's very active, but nobody wants to be around him because his action is destructive and mischievous. And he said even if a monkey sits down, he still has to use his sense of activity to manipulate things around him. He's always looking for something to break or to jump on. But he said in the mode of goodness, one can have a sense of the opportunity that one has in the human form of life to expand one's consciousness. It opens the doorway to liberation in the mode of sattva. And then he said, and he quoted the verse from Bhagavad Gita, Mam cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate, sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuya yakalpate. And that is, if you continue to perform devotional service, which Prabhupada described as completely transcendental, especially, he said, by chanting the holy names, then, as Kṛṣṇa in this verse says, one can rise above all of these three modes of material nature and come to the spiritual level, that is, our natural level of identifying as spiritual beings, not with the three modes of material nature and the body that's influenced by the three modes of material nature. So the direct process of devotional service is especially epitomized by Japa, because one does nothing but chant and hear. And one also can improve Japa by improving one's attitude while chanting, which is epitomized by Queen Kunti's prayer, Tvai me nanya vishaya matu pate sakrit ratim udvahata dada gange vaugam udanvati. She says that my rati, my attraction, let my attraction be drawn to you, Kṛṣṇa, the way that the Ganges is drawn to the ocean. This is a sign that one is chanting Japa effectively, that one is able to chant in such a way, without distraction, that one's attraction becomes drawn to the chanting of Hare Krishna, which is not different from Kṛṣṇa, and is pulled along with this force of the Ganges going to the ocean. Nothing can impede it. Even if you dam it up, eventually it goes around. So it's the greatest opportunity to perform direct devotional service, which is completely transcendental. And it's the means that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended to purify one's consciousness, Chaitodarpana Marjanam. So it's a worthwhile cause to take time every day to improve one's japa by chanting with attention, with feeling, with a prayer that, "Oh my Lord, oh energy of the Lord, please engage me in your service." So I feel very grateful to have an opportunity to sit in this japa circle and chant japa. How about you? So not very much. Okay. Well, let's try. And good to see those of you who are visiting from various places. Welcome, Manya. Thank you for coming all the way from Illinois. And everyone else, I'll get to know who came from where. Moses, where did you come in from? Just from New York. That's kind of a big deal. And everyone else, thanks for being here. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Just a short point of encouragement. Reading last night, Sudama Brahman's pastimes, and he had come to visit Krishna in Dwarka, had Sudama, and he only brought with him, reluctantly, some old chipped rice, dry, wrapped it in his torn cloth. We know the story. When he got there, he didn't want to give it because he was embarrassed. Krishna took it by force. He took one palmful, and Rukmini, goddess of fortune, stopped him from taking a second one, partly because she said, "I'm already so indebted to him, there's not much more I can offer." And she also was objecting because she said, "Leave some for us." And in the section, in that chapter, Krishna mentions that although he reciprocated with Sudama and gave him wealth that was beyond what Indra had, he said, "This is, even if I gave all the wealth of the universe to Sudama, I couldn't repay him. It's not worth anywhere close to what he gave me in that rice." And there's an identical verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yome Bhakti Prayachati. It's in that chapter. It's exactly the same as in the Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada emphasizes there, or our acharyas emphasize, that one impetus to serve Krishna purely with bhakti, even if it's a tiny little offering, it impresses Krishna so much that he never forgets it. So Sudama felt that he was unworthy, and that's one of the symptoms of somebody who's approaching Krishna in a proper attitude. And he just offered from his heart in the best way that he could. And Krishna appreciated so much. So the very endeavor to chant japa would speak of in a mood of offering service to Krishna. It's something that he'll definitely reciprocate with. The whole material world is actually designed for souls to go back to Godhead. And when he sees anybody making an endeavor to approach him, especially by chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, the authorized method, then he's completely attentive and receptive. So it's good to remember that we're not chanting into a void. There's no instance where we say the holy name that doesn't have some effect. What to speak of if you sit down and chant it with intention, or even if you chant it out of duty. It's a very high concept. Shraddha Namabhas means you have faith in the previous acharyas, even if you don't have taste, you have faith. And if you chant in that method, Haridas Thakur says you'll definitely attain the perfection of life. So we can remember how responsive and appreciative Krishna is for everything that we do when we chant. And it makes it more engaging to remember that we're chanting to him and that he's the one listening, especially to every living entity in the universe. He comes in with a ringside seat as Paramatma. He just sits right next to us and he's waiting for one indication that I want Kṛṣṇa. And Ramchandra said, Sakradeva prapano yes, tabasmiti chayachate. If somebody one time makes that sound, that Kṛṣṇa, I just want you, then say, okay, that's it, you got me. That was it. You had me at that one utterance. So what to speak of doing it over and over and over and over again? It's important to remember that we're chanting to Kṛṣṇa. Anybody want to share a realization at this point? Or as we go into our final section of chanting? Any realizations or revelations or reflections from your chanting or anything we discussed this morning? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Yes. Microphones.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I really liked in the beginning you mentioned that our nature is very difficult to give up. It's like a dog licking the shoe. So it doesn't go. But when we take shelter of the holy name, as you mentioned, it is possible to overcome. Also it is very hopeful. You mentioned that it is Kṛṣṇa actually who is listening to the mantra that we chant. That was so profound. That we just being conscious of that, our Japa will be transformed. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you for remembering those points. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Go ahead, Malini, and then Manya.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. When you said that Kṛṣṇa is listening to us, that was so encouraging, as you mentioned that I am not chanting into something void, and I know that when I'm talking to him, he's right there, right next to me. It's just that I am not noticing and I'm just ignoring him. So it's so nice to be encouraged.
It's helpful to remember that throughout the day also, that whatever I'm saying, he's listening. So we should be careful with our speech. Don't speak ill of devotees. Be careful how you use your speech, because Krishna is the one listening. If we're aware of that fact that Krishna is always listening, he's always there watching, then we'll always be Krishna conscious. Manya.
Hare Krishna Gurudev. I really liked the dog analogy that you were saying. It was thinking about how we have all of these desires, and at the root cause, even if we, try to get rid of them in artificial ways, we'll go back to those tendencies. But the only way to purify those desires at the root cause is to chant the holy name. And I was thinking about that, and when I tried to focus on the mantra a little bit more, I just felt a little more happy. And I was remembering when we were initially taught to chant and why we should chant. Even on chanting bags it says chant and be happy. And I was like, I'm happy. This is what it's about. And that was really peaceful. And in the end, that Kṛṣṇa is listening to our prayers and reciprocating. And sometimes we expect reciprocation from Kṛṣṇa in a certain way, but we should know Kṛṣṇa is reciprocating. And that's a nice feeling. So thank you for sharing that.
This is the first part of what you said is one of the topics of the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that there is an effective change of heart in the life of the jiva here in the material world by coming in contact with devotional service. All other forms of reformation are like when you cut down weeds and grass, and it looks like they're gone, but with the first rain, they all come back again. But the seed actually has to be destroyed, the seed of desire. And the way it's done is by a change of heart, that we change our decision, that we no longer want anything separate from Kṛṣṇa, and that's a symptom of love for Kṛṣṇa, which is natural, and it's all-powerful because we change the flow of our attention and our life and our activities, because it's natural to love Krishna and it can be reawakened by chanting his names. And it does make us happy. If you're ever in a situation where you feel confused or overwhelmed or morose for any reason, you can always shove your hand in your bead bag and just start chanting. And if somebody comes to you with a suggestion and says, oh, by the way, you got to do this, or what about that? Just say, not now. I got to chant until I become transcendently situated. And that's reasonable. And we have to do it on a regular basis. Otherwise, we'll succumb to the madness of the mind in the material world. It's the only means by which to rise above that ocean that's taking place, that's churning within our minds. We'll give one more try, shall we? Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone, for joining the Japa Circle. And today we'll be featuring Devamrita Swami. He'll be here at 7:30. We're going to have Guru Puja this morning, just after we greet the deities. And then Mars will give class on Queen Kunti. We're planning on setting the classes from now until Radhashtami around the verses from Queen Kunti for Srimad Bhagavatam classes. So he's very eager to meet everybody here, and we can greet him when he comes at 7:30. Whatever we may be doing, we can break away and then see to it that we give him a proper reception. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Sri Panchatattva, Sri Harinam Prabhu, if you so desire, please let us have the strength of heart to take full advantage of your avatar as the holy name, so it becomes our main focus in life. And we can chant with deep feeling, and we can also distribute it to as many people as possible, knowing that it's the only cure for the soul's disease of material attachment. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna.